So you want enlightenment. Okay, my spiritual friend, let me ask you a few questions. What do you think enlightenment is? Okay, I'm sure you have an answer to that as well. My answer is, it is when an individual human being knows his own source, his own true nature, and by that implication, the nature of the universe. The microcosm is a reflection of the macrocosm. As above, so below. But as good as that sounds, it's still something I do not know. It's just a word for me. As it is for you if you have clicked on this video, I'm assuming. And for most, the definition of enlightenment, no matter how eloquent and evolved, will always be an extension of what they already know. So let's simplify it and say, you know pleasure. We all do to some degree, as we all engage in sensory pleasure from time to time. Most people know the sexual climax or the orgasm as the highest point of pleasure. So we assume it is like a super good sensation all the time. You get my drift? Since we do not know what enlightenment is, we will imagine it to be an amplified, magnified version of what we already know and have experienced. But it can't be, you see, for a variety of reasons. Now bear with me as these are my theories. And let me make it clear, if you're dumb enough to believe I'm enlightened, I am not. I'm extremely unenlightened. Not trying to be humble, just spitting facts. But you know, subscribe to the red button, tickle the bell, and I shall send you a memo with my autograph when I get there. So yes, about my theories. We have established how we have an unconscious tendency to ascribe qualities to enlightenment which we already know, whereas enlightenment lies in a territory beyond what we currently know. So now my point is, we do not know what it is. So there is no point in chasing this imaginary ghost we have made up in our heads. And you can blame the scriptures and the masters for this. For it is their fault that we fools commit this mistake of making up ideals of enlightenment in a way we rob ourselves of what we already are. That is, the fact that we are perfectly unenlightened. And nobody said you have to be sad and unenlightened. What a pitiful state. And see, I can blame them, the enlightened, for a misconception I have made up and take responsibility for. Well, partly. But I still blame them for it, because of my ignorance. And I also blame them for the pain of longing, because they made me realize it in the first place. Just as a parent is cursed by the child for forcing them to brush their teeth twice a day, I blame the Buddhas of the world for the pain of my longing. Because I can be so much more than I think or know I am. And that pains me. Even as I try to drown myself in all the candy and sensory pleasures the world has to offer, I am reminded by a little something. It's not guilt, you see. I don't listen to what society has to say, so I'm pure in my pleasure seeking and I know no guilt. But they do nag and they do poke from time to time, as they should. Love him or hate him, you cannot ignore them. So what I'm left with is a constant sense of spiritual discontent. I must say, in the beginning of my spiritual journey, my longing was a pain, just absolute pain. And as I addressed it, I took steps disregarding anything and everything else. It slowly started changing in the way I was perceiving this longing within me. So let me tell you, it's still there. But it's not painful anymore. It's something I cannot describe in words, but it's painfully sweet now, you understand? I know how silly this sounds, but that's how it is. I feel limited by my language, so forgive me for that. I'm trying my best here. My painful longing has matured into something else. A deep sense of contentment alongside the longing. I don't necessarily want anything else in life. I think my life is inherently valuable in what it is, without the need for enhancing by means of identification, through expansion of limited means like money, sex, power, status, etc., etc. And I don't deny these things either, or I don't want to limit myself in certain areas like financial aspects, growth of this channel, And I do enjoy the finer things in life. And I do enjoy the process of everything and anything I do, no matter how difficult or painful. In other words, I am happily unenlightened. And I see no reason to chase this imaginary ghost, because look at the world and the universe we live in. How the hell do I hold on to my silly little ideas when there is all of this? Look at how awesome and amazing and scary and crazy it is. The ecstasy of just being alive. Enlightenment? Ain't nobody got time for that. Or are you offended by that? I'm sure a lot of touchy religious scripture reading people will be. Look at me, I'm so serious in my spiritual pursuit. I meditate for 25 hours a day to escape the fact that I'm miserable. But you see, I have nothing but love for the awakened. They have been my obsession my whole life, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. And with all my love for them, I will tell you that they are tricksters. The whole lot of them. But they have to be. Because we are tricksters of deception ourselves. And that leaves them no choice. Do you remember putting a wired set of earphones into your pockets, and when you pulled them out, they were always entangled to hell, and quite mysteriously so, and then you had to sort of retrace the wire through the loops and the holes and untie the knots and sort of reverse the whole entangling process before you could have two unentangled wires. Then you could listen to the music. Young people will completely miss this analogy as we have gone wireless these days. Ah, how we suffered back in the old days. But you see, it takes great cunning with a whole lot of love to unentangle somebody so terribly invested in their entanglements. And that's our condition, it seems. The object of identification is not the problem. That's the common misconception. Does spiritual mean all things pleasurable and tasty are bad? Yeah, right. What a sadistic way to define asceticism. Sex, pleasure, comfort, money, it's all bad. It's the devil. It's the fact that you're identified as the problem. These things are normal and biological. One may choose to eat as much as they like. Would you like a second serving of this Belgian chocolate ice cream? Well, yes, I would. Thank you very much. Does that make me the devil? Does that make me non-spiritual? Well, so be it. Because most people's idea of spirituality is a masochist, celibate, and poverty-ridden person who is detached from all the things that themselves are invested in and identified with, and that is what brings them their suffering. Whether you are for it or against it, it makes no difference. You're still about it. I had a friend, well, not a friend anymore. He told me you can't call yourself spiritual and own nice things like an iPhone or a laptop or a car. He had a thing against that. And that was mind-boggling to me, that how people think spirituality and material things are conflicting. And I realized it actually puts on display the conflict they have within themselves. Because they're engaged fully into possessing things and earning money, and I mean that in a negative, sell your soul kind of way to earn money. They think it's conflicting because you can only choose money or spirituality. And I'm sure they have this conflict with other basic biological needs like sex. I will save that rant for another video. But yeah, coming back from an ashram and doing well financially seems to have pissed a lot of people off. People love a helpless, defenseless, harmless looking saint sitting under a tree because he doesn't compete with you in any of the rat races you are running. Nothing wrong with such saints who consciously choose that life, but I am not going to, as I am no saint. I don't want to beg for money and be at the mercy of society today. I am capable enough to do that on my own. And I don't see money to be against spirituality. Because frankly, it is very difficult to meditate with an empty stomach. It gets hot where I live. I need an air conditioner, and I need to pay my electricity bills, and so on and so forth. All these comforts allow me to experience my life and explore spirituality in a way I see fit. Maybe you need more, or maybe you need less. It's none of my damn business, as long as you do so ethically and joyfully, if I may add. You provide some value and society gives you currency to buy things. That's how the world works. I thought we already knew this. Let's get one thing clear. I am under no obligation to fit anyone's, and I mean anyone's, idea of what they think a spiritual person is. You do it. You think money is anti-spiritual? Well, you be broke. You think you can't pursue spirituality with a family and a job? Well, you leave all of that. I can. I find spirituality to be in every corner of this existence. And how about you fit your own idea? They won't. And that's why I think they're hypocrites. They can't fit their own ideas of what they call spiritual. These things you own, your car, your bank account, etc., are on the periphery. They will not complete you. They will never complete you. Your next online purchase, the next goody thing that you're after, is not going to complete you. You should know this by now. You have done it countless times, hoping the next thing, the next achievement, the next relationship, the next spiritual experience, including your idea of enlightenment, is gonna be it. And it always disappoints, doesn't it? Because you don't want to face the disappointment, you swiftly move on to wanting the next thing, then the next thing, then the next. See how cunning you are in fooling your own self? You need someone way more cunning than you who can take you for a ride and in the process unentangle you with the limited things you're holding on to for your dear life. As if you're going to make it out of this alive. Death will rip your grip from all of your trinkets, whether you like it or not. Whether you have a buck to your name or a billion. Death doesn't care. As sure as you were born, you will die. It is the ultimate neutralizer. So, loosen your grip. You didn't have it in your hands in the first place. Death is only pointing at the obvious. The futility. But don't be sad. This is what gives the whole thing beauty. The fact that life is ever changing and nothing is in our control and everything is slipping through our fingers, and the tighter you try to hold on, the faster it slips. Let it go. A small fragile bud blossoms into a beautiful flower just to wither away and die. If you try to freeze the process, you have a plastic flower instead. So you can't fix it without killing it. You can't just keep on inhaling, you gotta exhale too. Let it go. And you will have it all. So, play your little games if you want. Or don't. It doesn't matter anyway. Just try and have a good time while you're at it. And please, please, for God's sake, don't take yourself seriously. You're ruining the fun for the rest of us. Laugh at yourself once in a while. Sincerely, an unenlightened fool.